Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Friday morning, the end of the week. Nuttiness all around going on in the world, but John Rocha is here with the mornings with the Outlaw, as the Outlaw, here to calm you down, make you laugh, give you the information, and just hang out and have a good time with you this morning. There's no SCN Live this morning. Christian just announced it on Twitter, I think a few minutes ago. So we're going to go extra long from 8:30 to about 10. So I don't have to worry about necessarily stepping on his toes at all. So so that's what we're doing today. So I want to say good morning to everybody who's joining me here. It is raining here in Los Angeles, so if you notice it's a little bit darker behind me than usual, that is why. Also, I'm wearing my Joker shirt, my Cesar Romero Joker shirt, and that's because it's going crazy. And wouldn't it be just like the Joker to send a virus like this out into the world? That son of a bitch. Let's say everybody who is in here this morning. MK Somberg, what's up? Rick Morris, what's going down? Andrew G, hello. Chris Scorpio, what's up? Let's see. You guys were having a lively chat before I came in. Jason Wynn, what's up? What's up? Haskell 420, yes, let's get it on. I agree. Good morning. Who else we got in here? Tyler, hello. Facetious Christ, I love it. I believe in him. Darren Batten, how are you? XFL just canceled the season. Did they really? See, as I'm going to talk about all this stuff this morning, there's going to be updates going to be filtering through. So do me a favor. If you see something, say something, but make sure you source it so I know you're telling the truth. You're not just like rumor mongering or thinking you or spreading information that's not 100% confirmed. Vandia Kostiak, how are you, man? What's up? Welcome this morning. PC, what's going down? Hello, PC. Peter Aitken, what's up? He says, afternoon, fellow Brits. Morning to those in the States. Good morning. Acer 5000, how are you? Let's see. Christopher Psychleather, how's it going? Or Stykeleather, sorry, how's it going? Manny Gonzalez, hey, good to see you again, my man. Cornelius Jones, thank you for joining. Thundered God, Cairo 770, how are you? Peter Aiken, what's up? I said already to you. Nicholas Michaelis, what's going on? Let's see if I got any. J-Dog already now 37 years young today. Yeah, everybody give happy birthday to J-Dog, one of my fans, one of the fans who joined me on the Outlaw Nation the other night. So happy birthday to J-Dog, 37 years young today. Thanks for joining me, my man. Eric Ferwerda is in here as well. See that guy over there? Thanks for joining, but happy Friday the 13th. Yes, wouldn't it be perfect? Isn't it perfect? Friday the 13th. All this madness with the coronavirus going on. We're going to talk about all the cancellations. We'll talk about delays, kind of speculate what that means, and talk about the TV stuff, then get into a little bit of why Black Widow isn't canceled, what that means for the MCU, and also talk a little bit about the WrestleMania and sports stuff as well. So, like I said, if you guys see anything or anything that's verified, please attach a verification link or something like that to your comment so I can check it over here. And I've got Streamlabs open as well. I'm not sure if Jake or Paul Denuzzi are in here to moderate, but I will do my best to moderate if they're not. So let's see who else is in here. I want to say hi to that I haven't said hi to. Draws Walker 9. Good morning, Darren Batten. What's up, man? Good to see you again. Let's see. Yeah, it's raining there as well, Haskell. Cool. Of course, Malk 2392. Thank you, Malcolm. I appreciate that. Darth Niner, morning Outlaw. Morning to you too. Neil Tibrewala. What's up? JJ Winward, what's down? Rugged English. Hello. Suge Knight 323. What's up? King Sport Cal. How's it going? Horseman. That's right. Justin Town says good morning to everybody. Ing Hell says top 10 yay. That's right. Matt is coming over a little bit later. We're going to record our new episode of the top 10 as well. Ronnie Padilla, what's going down? Acer 5000, good morning. Let's hope for a positive Friday 13th these days, though. Yeah. We'll talk about a lot of things, but it was definitely going to have some fun. Darren Patton says, John, CBC News says scientists in Canada have identified the virus and are working on a vaccine. Hey! Well. Let's hope that's true. Colin Martinez, how are you? Cameron Hainsworth, good, my brother, as well. You are my Latin bro, as I am black. Respect. Randall Tan, what's going on? Good to see you, man. And James Kimmel, hello. All right. Well, let's jump into this thing, and let's start off first with the news yesterday about Mulan and the New Mutants. Yeah, it has been delayed. That is the big news coming out of Disney. They just moved Mulan, which had been scheduled to debut on March 27th. I was set up for a screening next week. Unfortunately, that screening is now not going to happen on the heels of course, Quiet Place Part 2 being canceled or being delayed as well. And of course, Fast and Furious 9, Fast 9 being moved an entire year, which we talked about on SCN Live yesterday or a couple of days ago. Incredible. And the New Mutants, unfortunately, the New Mutants got themselves delayed as well. I mean, this film can't seem to catch a break in any way, shape, or form. It was supposed to come out on April 3rd. It is now delayed again. And also they delayed Antlers, which was a Searchlight horror film that was coming out on April 17th. Disney says they're looking at potential 2020 dates to reschedule these films too. Remember, Mulan was tracking at about 80 million to 90 million for an opening. And on the heels of Onward, which was a bit of a soft one, I think they were hoping that Mulan would come in like gangbusters. It's not a coincidence that trailer for Soul dropped right after the kind of not so well received in terms of the box office results of Onward. Yeah, I mean, it was weird. I mean, let's go to China's. The theaters are closed. Chinese theaters are closed. Denmark, Norway, and Greece today joined Italy, Poland, states in India, Lebanon, and Kuwait as well, closing their theaters. All the theaters in those nations and states closed. Also, cinemas, this is from Deadline's Andreas Wiseman, also reported that cinemas in the Ukrainian capital of Kiev and the Hungarian capital of Budapest are bound to shutter, along with Sweden, Finland, and Belgium to follow. In addition to US, Canada, UK, France, Germany, Spain, Mexico, Australia, and Brazil, cinemas remain open. So those are the ones that are open right now in the US and Canada, in the UK, in France, in Germany, and Spain, Mexico, Australia, and Brazil. All those cinemas are still open today. What's interesting about this whole situation with Mulan, like Paramount, and this is from Deadline, Paramount's A Quiet Place Part 2, sources estimate that it had already spent 60% of its global P&A freight, and much has been expended for Mulan as well. They just had the premiere in Hollywood. And, this is all stemming from what happened with No Time to Die. That was the first film that was like publicly moved from April 10th to November 25th. Now they're pushing A Quiet Place Part 2, as I mentioned. They're pushing The Lovebirds, a limited release to Blue Story as well, to unset dates. And of course, as we said, F9 moving, Universal moved that to April 2nd, 2021. I mean, this is kind of a big deal because a lot of these studios they have so much time kind of spending their budget. And am I buffering? All right, I'm back on. All right. Did everybody miss that? Am I back? All right, am I back up? Everybody? Can you see me? Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, man. Yeah, look at that. Oof. Weird stuff, man. Weird stuff. Look, I'm going to have a little bite of my food. Jesus. Can someone tell me where I left off? What is the last time you guys heard me saying? Can you guys tell me what's the last thing I was saying to y'all so I can pick up where I left off? I don't want to miss anything. Food hype. New Mutant stock? Okay. All right, let's pick up where I left off here. You said New Mutant stock, so that's what I was saying about the New Mutants. It's such a shame for this film. There have been so many delays on this film. It was supposed to come out April 13th in 2018. Then it was pushed to February 22nd, 2019. Then to August 2nd of 2019. It was supposed to be April 3rd. So it had suffered already 3 separate pushes. And now, once again, it's being pushed again. And as I was saying, maybe it cut off, I guess, before I was getting across to you all. This makes so much sense for them because of what they're going to lose, Disney. If they pursued with this, it's a situation where they have to get it right. They have to get it 100% right in terms of dropping this thing. And it's not connected to an overall universe, right? That's the problem with Black Widow, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But with New Mutants, it's its own thing. Yes, it was going to be a trilogy, but in the end, it didn't become a trilogy, but it wanted to be its own thing. So this is the day. This is the day for that kind of thing. Here's what Disney is, I think what Disney is looking at is like, it doesn't make any sense for them to drop these films at this point, because if they do, they're going to lose money on them because a lot of people aren't going to be attended. And here's another thing too to think about, and I'm going to go back to my face here as I read this. I want you all to hear this. China's theaters are closed. So is Denmark's, Norway's, Greece's, and Italy's closed. Poland's is closed. States in India, in the country of India, states in the country of India have theaters closed. Lebanon's theaters closed. Kuwait's theaters closed. And Deadline's Andreas Weissman is reporting that the Ukrainian capital of Kiev and the Hungarian capital of Budapest are also going to shut their theaters down, along with Sweden, Finland, and Belgium. So all those theaters are going to be shut down. Some of the theaters that are in some of the countries that are open are here in the United States, in Canada, in the UK, in France, in Germany, in Spain, in Mexico, and in Australia and Brazil. Those so far are still open, those theaters there. And thank God, because I might go catch a movie because there'll probably nobody be in the theater. I'll probably go by myself, go catch a couple movies this weekend. I remember this all, and this is so interesting because Deadline is speculating here that this rarely happens. Quiet Place Part 2, which is one of those ones that was moved, we spoke about. Sources estimate that it had already spent 60% of its global P&A freight. And there's been a lot spent on Mulan already. I mean, the premiere just happened on Monday. And of course, this all stems from James Bond, No Time to Die being pushed from April 10th to November 25th. A lot of a lot of studios are following suit with their films. A Quiet Place Part 2 got moved. It was supposed to come out on March 20th this weekend. Next week. Was it this weekend? Yeah, this weekend today. Supposed to come out. It was supposed to come out next week. The Lovebirds is supposed to come out on April 3rd, and they had a limited release for Blue Story, and they pushed all of those. And of course, Universal moved Fast 9, as I stated earlier, an entire year to April 2nd, 2021 from its Memorial Day release. And the thing is, Deadline is also speculating like this is kind of never happens, this idea of these films being moved at this close to their release date, rescheduled to another option. But of course, the health situation has to be factored in. Plus, global box office for a lot of these films is really important. And that's another thing to look at this. I mean, if you were even remotely not aware that the global box office is an important part of the release of any of these big movies, and yes, A Quiet Place Part 2 does qualify as a big movie, you do know that now, because this is the main reason these films are being pushed and delayed, is because they don't see a global box office return on these films, and that could be important for them financially down the road. So I think what the studios are doing are just delaying these things for now, and they're going to drop them once the hysteria calms down, once we get a vaccine, once the cases start to drop, once testing becomes more highly implemented. I think you'll see that kind of drama and worry calm down, and then people will come back to the theater. Because if there's anything people get upset about, it's having things taken from them without their free will. And when it gets put back into place, they will come and patronize it with all their money and all their support. So that's the way I think that's what I think the theaters. I think it's why I think these studios rather are pushing back their films or delaying their films, because they know once they bring them back, people are going to come in mass to enjoy movies again. Because one thing we enjoy in times of pain, in times of sadness, in times of worry, in times of concern, is going to a movie to get our mind off of things. So I hope that's a positive overall. And of course, it helps the studios. It helps all the people who are involved with these productions to maintain their jobs and keep their jobs and all of that. So we'll see down the road. Another update here for another production, and that is for the Shang-Chi production. The director there, Daniel Creighton, he is self-isolating himself after the advice of a doctor. The first unit production there in Australia has been suspended for now. The second unit production of Shang-Chi, however, continues, and the film has been shooting in Australia since February. Now, Creighton said that he wasn't feeling the symptoms of the coronavirus, but he opted to be tested as he has a newborn baby and wanted to exercise extra caution. So he is currently awaiting results of that test. So this thing just going all over the place in so many ways. And I should mention we should jump into also the TV situation. This is also from Deadline, in the most sweeping TV studio response to the growing coronavirus pandemic yet. NBC Universal has suspended production on the majority of its TV series across all entertainment production units. Universal Television, UCP, Universal Television Alternative Studios, and First Run Syndication Studios. That's about 35 shows. It includes all the Dick Wolf dramas still in production: Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Law & Order SVU, New Amsterdam, FBI for CBS, Angeline, the Peacock series that was going to star Emmy Rossum, and the Kelly Clarkson show that was on there. So they also and Deadline reported earlier that UniTV yesterday put on hold the production, or 2 days ago put on hold the production of several series that had not yet started filming, including season 2 of Russian Doll, which starred Natasha Lyonne, and season 2 of the anthology of Little America for Apple, and season 1 of Rutherford Falls. Here's the entire list. I'm going to read it off. American Ninja Warriors. These are all delayed or halted. American Ninja Warriors, America's Got Talent, The Amazing Race, Bull, Card Sharks, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Dynasty. I didn't even know Dynasty was still going on the CW. Family Feud. The FBI rather. Grey's Anatomy. The Late Late Show with James Corden. The Late Night with Seth Meyers. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. NCIS Los Angeles. NCIS New Orleans. New Amsterdam, The Price is Right, Riverdale, Survivor, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. And on the streaming side of things, Angeline, as I mentioned, the Emmy Rossum show, that's been halted. Carnival Row, the second season of Carnival Row has been halted. Falcon and Winter Soldier on Disney Plus has been halted, which we'll talk about in just a second. Foundation has been halted. Grace and Frankie has been halted. The Good Fight was halted. Little America was delayed. The Morning Show is halted. Russian Doll is delayed. Rutherford Falls is delayed. Jeopardy is halted now. Makuga. Kelly Clarkson show has been halted. The Wendy Williams show has been halted. And Wheel of Fortune has been halted. So all those programs halted or delayed in production because of the coronavirus, because of what's happening there in that situation. So unfortunately, that's the TV production. So there'll be a lot of reruns. There'll be a lot of stuff, syndication stuff that's already in the pipeline. So it's not like the channels are going to go dark or they're not going to have content. And look, this might be a great opportunity for those of you who are on streaming services and you've had a queue with massive titles, a massive number of titles in your queue. Maybe now's the time for you to go back and watch that movie or that TV show that you were waiting to watch, or you weren't sure if you were going to watch because you've got all this other stuff to get to. Now that the new stuff's not coming down the pike for a bit and some of the movies aren't being released in the theaters, now's your time to catch up on some stuff and watch some movies maybe you've been hesitant about, or TV shows you've been hesitant about. I know a lot of people are saying, well, are they going to drop these movies on their streaming services? And why would you? There's so much content already on those streaming services that people haven't caught up on. So this is a good opportunity for numbers to go up on these streaming services, on films and TV shows that they haven't watched on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu, or if you're a Anglophile like me and my girlfriend, on BritBox, on Acorn TV, on Amazon Prime. I think I already said a number of other streaming services that are out there. Obviously Disney Plus. There's so much on there. So they're not going to drop these new movies, I don't think, on these streaming services just yet, because they want you to watch the other stuff that you haven't watched yet, and that's important. I got over 160 you all in here. Thank you so much for joining me this morning on Mornings with the Outlaw. Please, I'd love it if you slid your cursor over and hit that like button. Get me to over 100 likes as quickly as possible. We're going till 10 a.m. today. There's no SCN Live, so I'm just going to do an extra long show here for you all and answer all your questions and answer your super chats. And please, hey, now that stuff's halted, my financial things are in flux as well. So I'd love any assistance on the super chats, any donations you can send through on the super chats or on the Streamlabs. I'd prefer the Streamlabs since the super chats take 33%, but however you want to do it, I would appreciate it. And I'm happy to do impressions. I'm happy to do whatever you want to do, because whatever it costs for the $20 one, I'm happy to do whatever you need. So I'm going to give you the best show I can today, give you all informed, give you everything you can, answer your questions, have a little fun, do whatever. I'm down for that. Once again, happy birthday to J-Dog. He sent that super chat in. Want to give him some love. Not sure if it got messed with other things. So would love it. Thank you all so much for joining me this morning. Yeah, over 175 of you now. Please swing that cursor over, hit like on there, and we're going till 10 a.m. So strap in and let's have some fun. Tim Sim sent in a super chat here. Man, at this rate, Vince McMahon needs to realize that this is a bad situation. It needs to postpone/cancel WrestleMania 2 with the XFL canceled this season. I guess that came through earlier in the stream that the XFL has canceled its season. I mean, talk about a league that is so absolutely snake bit. Got canceled because of ratings and poor attendance after the first season. Now canceled because of the coronavirus. And I'm going to talk about WrestleMania a little bit further down the road and some of the sports stuff on the show here today. So got some stuff I want to talk about with that. So I'll definitely address that, Tim Sim. Shout out to you, my brother. All right, let's move on to some Streamlabs here real quick. Andrew G donated and said, I am so bummed about New Mutants delay. I mean, I get why, but we were so close this time. I don't want this to be on Hulu because we don't get that in Canada. This should be in theaters to make what money it can, and that's how I want to see it too. And you know, Andrew, you can be bummed, and I totally understand and respect that, but I think the delay is a good thing, and it'll maybe even build up anticipation even just a little bit more, because this is not being delayed because of production issues or reshoots or a studio being sold to another studio. This is being delayed out of precaution and health for the moviegoers themselves. So maybe this is a good thing that people will feel even more of a positive feeling around the New Mutants. So when it comes in as this fighter, it could have this kind of vibe where you can't keep it down. It's been delayed 3 times, now the 4th time, but here it comes, and now it's ready for you. So I mean, it could create that kind of buzz that people look at this movie kind of subconsciously as the little engine that could, little movie that could, and that could get people excited to go see it. So it could be a positive down the road, Andrew G. And you want it to make as much money as possible. So does Disney. That's why this is the smart move, I think, overall, doing it this way. All right, J-Dog already gave you your shout out there. Tim Sim, hi. Thank you for the kind donation, Tim. Really appreciate that, my brother. Hi. Hope you and everyone over there are safe. Really unfortunate that the 10K races I plan to run these several months ahead are canceled, but better safe than sorry. Hopefully Christian leads the Schmodown in the safest way possible. Yeah, he said he's got announcements coming down the pike, Tim, so I appreciate you being so positive about this whole situation. Yes, Christian will have announcements coming soon about everything, and you'll hear what he's going to do. Some of us have already heard, but we can't announce it. That is Christian's responsibility to announce it to all of you fans, but there are announcements coming for the coronavirus situation, so be prepared for that. I think they'll come later on today, later on this morning. Yeah, I'm sorry about your 10K races, brother. But I think you can still run them, can't you? You just can't necessarily run them in competition. So you can create your own competitions, I think, and race against yourself. That's not a negative. That could be a good, nice little challenge for you to kind of keep your mind off this coronavirus and the situation that's happening with that. Let's see. PC donated, said, ever seen that Twilight Zone, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street? Description, a pair of invaders manipulate electricity, creates havoc for a small community, and exposed humanity's self-destructive prejudices. Yeah, I've seen that one before. It's a good one. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that's how we are. When things go down, things get hairy, some of our worser natures come out, but also some of our best natures come out. I've seen so many stories already on Twitter and on social media about how people are helping each other. People are donating money to help each other. I mean, Kevin Love the other day donated $100,000 to a fund for workers at the Cleveland Cavaliers. I hope more athletes do that. I hope more entertainers do that. They've got the rich ones, the really rich ones who've taken care of their money. They've got money to spare. They can put it into a fund and it'll be doled out to those employees. And hopefully responsible people are in charge to dole out the money to those employees correctly so that they don't miss too much of pay. Because, and that's another thing. I hope people who rent or people who own offices or own property understand that this situation could be is not of other people's doing, that studios are being shut down or businesses are being shut down so people can't go to work, that kind of stuff. And I hope they're being understanding and kind of forgiving rent or forgiving for this month or a couple of months as this thing gets better, because the last thing you want is to start evicting people, because if you want to see a riot, that's how you start a riot. And one or two people against against the whole horde of people is not good odds. And so I hope people don't get crazy about this and start trying to kick other people out, because I am on the side of the people who will rebel against those people. You have to be understanding in situations. You have to be aware of situations, and so they have to be understanding and be fair to the people in that situation. So I hope across the board, the better angels of our nature, as Lincoln called them, come out in these situations. I was saying on SCN Live the other day, Patton Oswalt retweeted this great, beautiful thread about this woman who was asked by this old couple in their 80s who was sitting in their car to buy them groceries for them because they were afraid to go into a public place like the grocery store and contract the coronavirus. And so they gave her a $100 bill. She went in there, bought groceries, came back, put it in the trunk of their car, and gave them their change. And they said they had been waiting 45 minutes for someone to come along who they felt was trustworthy, so they could give them their money to bring back the groceries. So those things that come out. So you'll hope the better angels of our nature are coming out. But I already see that some of the negative stuff is out there. Maybe some of you, I say this to you so you can make your parents, people aware of this. There are cyber criminals out there right now who are sending emails to gullible people who are older, to try to get them to give their password information in exchange for coronavirus information. So please make your parents, grandparents, or people aware of this in your life, so that they don't fall victim to this kind of stuff and have their accounts possibly violated, or have their bank accounts exposed to theft. So those kinds of things are really important. So be aware of that and be on top of that. All right, let's see here. Facetious Christ donated. Thank you so much, Facetious. He says they shut down K through 12 schools here in Michigan till April 6th, looking into teachers teaching online / via Skype. Yeah, that's a smart move. You can still teach. We've seen this so many times. Technology being used in negative ways. Well, here's a way for technology to be used in a positive way, and that's communicate and connect, like I'm doing now, communicating and connecting with you guys now. That's a positive, and I think some more of this Skype stuff is going to come into play. More of the StreamYard stuff that I'm doing can come into play. I might start doing more of these kind of Outlaw Nation shows as this coronavirus kicks in and people are home. It might be cool to be able to connect with you all even more and bring you all up and have conversation, ask questions. If you haven't seen the first episode of the Outlaw Nation show, the return of the Outlaw Nation show, it is there for you to watch on YouTube. It is also up on a podcast channel. So if you are interested in listening to it on a podcast version, it is up on the podcast feed. Just look for the Outlaw Nation show or the Outlaw Nation podcast network, wherever you download podcasts, and let me know if you find it. I put the Outlaw Nation show up there as the first episode. Then I'm going to start dropping all the stuff onto there as well. All right. Yeah. And I hope the teachers do teach online and via Skype. That's a way to do it as well. And maybe there's not a pressure there to do it. There's not a pressure there for children to have to attend those kinds of things. So sometimes people can't afford the streaming service, can't afford the cameras with which they can do this kind of thing. So we shall see. I mean, Steve Morris and I, for the Cinephiles, for the first time ever, we thought we'd try out recording over Skype, and we did a Hunt for Red October over Skype yesterday. That's coming out a little bit further down the road, but we decided to try and do it that way to see if it works just as effectively for us. All right, JB Bonifacio donated, says, what do you think about reducing theater capacity to allow sufficient spacing between moviegoers? Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday on SCN Live, that you could limit it to just 25 people in a 75 people theater, right? And put distance. But how are you going to keep people from sneezing or coughing or whatever who might have it and are not being responsible and staying home? And there are going to be people who are just going to be like, F it, I'm going, whatever, I don't care, or be self-destructive and don't care that they hurt other people in the process. That's certainly something to factor into or consider. And so for me, I think that's what their concern would be. And then there would be liability because they didn't check with the person who bought the ticket that they didn't have coronavirus. So here's the thing that I would say: if there was a way to test people on the way into the theater, that's how you do it, and make sure the results are negative and whatever. So I would be down with that, but you take your chances if you go. I might go sometime later today to go see one of these movies, so we'll see. But I think I like your idea, JB, certainly one I mentioned, as I said, but I think the idea of the possibility, even the minutest possibility, could cause a litigious situation. And I think that's what everybody, studios and organizations, theater owners are trying to avoid. Let's see. See that guy over there donated, said, hello, Rocha. How long do you think this crisis is going to last? Do you think Disney will move Black Widow if April gets worse? I will address that in just a second for sure. But I don't know how long this is going to last. It's supposed to, at this point, it's prognosticated that July is going to be the height of this stuff. So I don't know at this point how much longer it's going to last, to be honest with you. And I'll talk about Black Widow just a second. Let me finish these Streamlabs. That's the second topic here. Juan Martinez donated, said, thanks for all the great content, brother. You're killing it. Oh, thank you, Juan. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you, man. Thanks so much for donating, brother. And thank you so much for the kind words. Garth McMurray donated. He said, as a Marvel Comics fan and big fan of the Demon Bear saga, I really hope that the New Mutants movie gets a theatrical release and doesn't wind up just coming out on Hulu or Disney+. I also hope that it surprises everyone and turns out to be a great X-Men movie. Well, Josh Boone certainly said he thinks it's a good movie and he's happy with the delay. And he said, he said there were no reshoots, but of course there were reshoots. So I don't know what to feel about that. Maybe he's trying to change the narrative around the film. But yeah, I would love to see the Demon Bear saga, as well as I posted about it way back when, and Bill Sienkiewicz, who was part of it, retweeted it and liked it. So I would love to see that as well. I'm a big fan. Thank you, Garth, for the donation. Hope you're feeling better, man. I know you're dealing with what you're dealing with, so I hope you're feeling better today, brother. Let's see. And Andrew G donated here, was just wondering, so mornings is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday mornings. Outlaw Nation is Tuesday nights. Will it be Thursday nights as well, or is Thursdays just new Geek Buddies? Can't wait to try and call in on the next Nation show. All right, so right now the schedule is that Mornings with the Outlaw will be Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Wednesday might be tentative, to be honest with you, because trying to do Mornings with the Outlaw this past Wednesday morning, after having done Outlaw Nation for as late as I went, was a weird kind of, I was a little bit tired. So I may come up with a new show on Wednesdays, but certainly it'll be Mondays and Fridays, Mornings with the Outlaw, maybe even extra long shows, 8:30 to 10, lead you into SEN Live in that fashion. Tuesday will be the Outlaw Nation show from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Their Pacific time. That'll be that. Or it might go to 10, depends on how many people are in the waiting room, in the chat room. And I always leave it wide open. In the late night shows, you get people who are from overseas as well chiming in. So it'd be fun to get communication with people from all over the world. Certainly that's an awesome show that I'm loving. And let's see, what else? Okay. And then Thursdays will be Geek Buddies. That's when we drop the Geek Buddies Thursdays. Wednesdays will be for Strong Style, which is the wrestling show. And that's the situation there for the shows that I've got going on the podcast that will be going on as well. Of course, I'll be doing movie reviews and trailer reactions. I'll do more of that as it comes down the pike. A lot of you have been pushing me to do that. So yes, I will be doing those. So if I fall flat on my face, it's y'all's fault on my movie reviews, but I will get better. I'm sure you guys can compare my first stream to this stream and see that I do get better quickly when I get motivated to do it. All right, Colin Martinez donated one more thing. He said, Utah State moved all classes online, but I still have to take all my tests here. Can't go back to Nova yet. It's going to suck. Campus is dead, and they discouraged hanging out with people. Guess I'll just watch more Outlaw. Thanks for the great content, brother. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely going to be putting up some more Outlaw stuff and everything to that nature. So certainly there'll be more coming from the Outlaw Nation. Kingsport Cal sending in the super chat. It's your boy, Calvin, Tennessee, West Virginia, represent. Oh, I should say it the way he does. It's your boy, Calvin, Tennessee, West Virginia, represent. All right, thank you, Calvin. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in. Got over 200 of y'all in here. Please, I would love it if you swung over there, hit that like button. Would mean a lot to me. Only 128 likes. Would love to get to 200 likes as quickly as possible. Thanks for chiming in here to the Outlaw Nation. I really appreciate all the support you guys give me as I try to, do crazy things with this channel and make it better and better every time. I'm up to the over 12,000 subscribers, trying to get to that 20,000 subscribers mark. Clearly, I'm going to have to work a little bit harder than I have been working, try to generate people's support and people's subscriptions to my channel. And no problem, I'll be doing that as well. So coming up with some new shows, some new kind of like one of those 5-7 minute type things that you see on Emergency Awesome and these other channels to try to build up some love there. All right, let's move on to our next story, and that is Black Widow. Black Widow has not been delayed at this point. As I'm reporting to you, as I'm talking to you right now, Black Widow has not been delayed. It is the first film in the MCU Phase 4 slate. But the problem with the thing with Black Widow, though, everyone's asking why it's not delayed. It's because it's a kind of, since it's the first film in MCU's Phase 4, it's a domino effect. If you delay Black Widow, then you have to delay everything down the road. And I think at this point, because it's connected to a larger universe, there's consequences for the rest of Phase 4 if they move Black Widow. And what makes matters worse is they're about to transform the MCU into this universe that includes the TV stuff and the film stuff, all connected to the Disney Plus stuff, all connected to this. So it would kind of affect the rollout of these shows, these Disney Plus shows as well. Now, I mean, I'm sure they're strongly considering it, and maybe they don't want to delay it just yet because they want to put plans in motion for these delays. And we'll get to those delays for the TV shows in just a second. But this will take some time for them to figure out in terms of money, in terms of the best windows for these things. If they get delayed, pushing everything back, what does that mean? Plus, I think a lot of these executives are sitting here wondering if they should just wait this thing out and a cure appears, or people push it back, or things of that nature. So that kind of stuff is what they're looking for, I think. So they'll have to look and put a plan together. They haven't made any official decisions, and already Disney canceled a major promotional Disney Plus event in London where they were going to announce further release dates for the Marvel TV shows. Black Widow right now is prognosticated to have a $115 million opening in the United States, but that certainly could be affected if this all keeps going. Remember, it comes out on May 1st, or May 2nd rather, so this all could be affected down the road. But then again, we might get a cure. I mean, someone posted here saying that the CBC is reporting that they might have pinpointed the virus and might be working on a cure or a vaccine for the virus. I think that would calm everybody's nerves down, because I'm starting to get affected by this as well in terms of financially. A couple of my side jobs have already told me, like, we're putting this stuff on hiatus right now, and so that's going to affect me financially. So look, any super chats, any Streamlabs questions you can send through, any requests you have, I certainly would appreciate it. And if you want to join my Patreon, you can see it. Let me bring it up there. You can see it right down there, www.patreon.com/John Rocha. Certainly going to be doing a lot more with the Patreon as we go into this new phase of entertainment and what's going on in entertainment. Falcon and Winter Soldier, speaking of other Disney Plus shows that could be affected by all of this, certainly Falcon and Winter Soldier is one of those ones that you have to look at that is in real trouble. It did shoot mostly in Atlanta, but there is production elements that were shot. They were supposed to be shooting in Prague, and that got shut down. They were supposed to spend a week in the capital of the Czech Republic, that's Prague, but risk assessments changed when the city began to close down schools, cancel events, and restrict travel. And this is coming from Screen Rant. Disney called everyone home to Atlanta with no word on whether the House of Mouse plans to return at a later date, shoot on set, or perhaps even conduct a rewrite. Whatever Disney's intentions may be, Disney Plus's schedule is pretty much locked through to the end of 2020. So Disney can't afford a disruption to the Disney Plus rollout, which is already feeling a little lackluster and has been overly dependent on Lucasfilm. So this is also something to be concerned about. As we were saying with Black Widow, if you delay Black Widow, then all these other things get delayed as well and get affected by it. And so that's an issue overall for Disney Plus and for Marvel. That's a danger when you're looking at this situation. And you look at something like Eternals. Eternals is another one that could be affected by this. Eternals, they were saying it has wrapped principal photography, so it's not going to affect the production too much. Marketing, however, will be dramatically impacted by the pandemic because potential promotional places like the Comic-Con or Emerald City Comic-Con. Comic-Con is canceled. Oh no, I'm sorry. If Comic-Con gets canceled, Emerald City Comic-Con's already been postponed. WonderCon's been postponed. So all these places where they would be building up the hype for the Eternals, which is coming out later this year. Remember, this is a property that not a lot of people know the characters in this property. So you want to promote it as much as possible. That's why you cast as high-end as they cast with Jolie and Kumail Nanjiani and a bunch of other actors involved in this. You want to have as much publicity around it as possible to build up the hype, to build up the anticipation for people who may not know that much about the Eternals, and not being able to do it at these marquee events like Comic-Con or Emerald Con or WonderCon is certainly a blow to what you could look at as possible potential box office for the film. So that's certainly an issue that they have to worry about as well. A lot of people believe, they were saying on this analysis that the epidemiologists believe the worst of the disease will be over in the U.S. by the time the film is released in November. Marvel may choose to adjust Eternals release date a little, but they'd probably prefer not to push it back too far. 2021 is already packed. So that's certainly something to consider as they go into this situation, how much of this is going to impact the overall approach to Disney Plus and to the shows and to the whole MCU rollout. And speaking of that, WandaVision looks like it's mostly going to be unaffected by coronavirus. This is one that everyone is really looking forward to. The kind of out there approach to WandaVision that has already been teased by Elizabeth Olsen and people involved in the production. They've already wrapped production. So it required less location shooting. So they may use this to kind of move some dates around. Maybe they'll edit some of the episodes so they don't reveal certain things in those episodes and reveal certain things in other episodes. So there's an option there for them to do that as well. WandaVision gives them a little bit of wiggle room, so we'll see. So maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier could be adjusted in terms of release date for that. So it's a little bit of a delay as well. Another one that could be affected by all of this is Loki. Loki is certainly a possibility as well. They haven't said for sure what they're going to do with Loki, but Loki is one that someone has to be. It's currently shooting in Atlanta at this point, so there is probably going to be some delays. The coronavirus is spreading in Atlanta with 2 schools closing after a teacher tested positive for the virus, so potentially exposing 150 students to the virus. So it's only a matter of time before the virus reaches the students. And look, we saw already yesterday, if you read the news, the Prime Minister of Canada's wife, Justin Trudeau's wife, she tested positive for coronavirus. A Brazilian president who had been visiting with our President Trump, he tested positive for the virus. So this is building, and there's rumor, and Trump and Pence have not said they've been tested for this thing. So we'll see what happens with them. So it's even going to the highest levels, this thing. It's going all over the world and all over the United States. Though I do think people are reacting a little strongly to it with the foraging of food and toilet paper and all this madness. I think it's a little nuts. I haven't gone out to the grocery stores. Thank God I had already gone like a couple of weeks before and stocked up on everything just with groceries because I had no idea this was, going to be this crazy. But I will venture out today to see what's still left anywhere. So it'll be an interesting experience. Might even do a live vlog for it, which could be interesting as well. Loki is supposed to have a big, strong connection to Thor, Love, and Thunder with Mjolnir showing up in another timeline. And then how is this going to affect Thor 4 as well? So that's a possibility overall if Loki gets delayed and what have you. So a lot of things to consider in this situation, a lot of things to look at with Disney, with MCU, Disney Plus, Marvel, all of it also connected. That's one of the risks you run. If one domino falls in a certain way incorrectly, the rest of the dominoes might not fall in the right way that you want it to. So that's a concern you have here. So certainly, when you're playing like Disney or Marvel plays at that high level, you've got other things that you have to worry about and other responsibilities. And the game is completely different when you're trying to connect those TV shows as well. So let's move on to some super chats and some Streamlabs before I jump into the next thing. Oh, S. Kohler, thank you so much. He donated. Said, Rocha, you are appreciated. Thank you. It's very kind, man. Thank you so much, Kohler. Thank you for the super chat. Go Cubs. All right, respect that. We're going to talk about that in just a second as well, what's going on in the sports world and what's going on with WrestleMania. So thank you very much for that donation, caller. I appreciate it. Remember, like I said, any Streamlabs or Super Chats you can send in through, I'd really appreciate it. There's no SCN live today, so maybe the money you were going to send through to SCN, you can send through to me. I'd really appreciate it. I'll do impressions. I'll do whatever you want. I'll answer any questions you want about my world. A $20 and above donation gets any question you want to ask, and I will answer it honestly about the Schmodown, about life, about whatever's going on in your world or whatever's going on in the entertainment world, or about myself, whatever you want. So let's move on to some other Streamlabs here. Haskell 420, he donated. He said the Masters tweeted out the Masters is canceled. Yes. And 2 other major events. NASCAR tweeted out events this weekend and next weekend canceled. Cody wrote, says AEW Blood and Guts pay-per-view in New Jersey has been moved from March 25th to July. All right, there you go. So those are things that are coming. And of course, I'll be talking about sports in just a second. Thank you, Haskell, for the update. I'm going to take a drink real quick. I can feel my mouth getting dry. All right. Andrew G donated. He said, of all the new MCU coming, what are you most looking forward to? WandaVision sounds really cool. I'm really curious to see Eternals, but Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings sounds so rad to me. It's a tie between that and Thor Love and Thunder. Well, I happened to watch Thor Ragnarok again last night because I just love that movie. Just watched it by myself. While my girlfriend was watching some on the television, I just watched it on my MacBook Pro and just enjoyed the hell out of that movie. So yes, Thor: Love and Thunder is the one I'm looking forward to. With Taika Waititi coming back, with Vin Diesel revealing that the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to be in this thing, Jane Foster possibly becoming the female Thor in some way in this thing. Do we get Beta Ray Bill? So there's a lot about Thor: Love and Thunder that excites me personally. So that's the one I'm looking forward to in terms of the movies as opposed to the TV shows. I think WandaVision. I can't deny my anticipation for WandaVision. I mean, Elizabeth Olsen is such a great Scarlet Witch, and I love Paul Bettany as an actor, and I just want to see what they do here. And the fact that they're connecting it up to, the Doctor Strange movie, which is one of my favorite MCU films ever, excites me even more to see what they can do here. So those are the two that I would say, Andrew G, are the things that I'm most interested in on the TV side and the film side of things. That being said, though, Black Widow, I'm certainly looking forward to Black Widow. All right, let's see here. Garth McMurray donated again, said Disney should invest millions or billions into finding a vaccine/cure for the coronavirus. They could be heroes and get it all back in movie attendance revenue and keep movies and TV shows on schedule. Just kind of a joke, but it could actually work. Yeah, I'm sure that's a great idea, my man. If they could do it, they would. I'm sure. And don't put it past Bob Iger to be like quietly behind the scenes donating money to whoever's trying to find a vaccine for this virus. Because you're right. If you can in some way donate some kind of money that is, by the way, is a tax write-off to help your business survive quicker. Why wouldn't you? It makes all the sense in the world. So we'll see what they decide to do with that. But don't be surprised that there are some people in high places who are doing that now behind the scenes. All right, I'm getting some text that came in here. Okay, my friend Mark Sloan gave me some compliments about my lighting and audio, said that it's so much better nowadays than it was before. I appreciate that. Oh shit. Christian giving me shit that I'm competing with the Schmodown. Apparently he dropped the show this morning at 9. He knows I do mornings with the Outlaw from 8:30 to 9:30. I'm not apologizing for that. So I guess it's Irwin and Snyder. So go after you finish watching this with me at 10, go watch Irwin and Snyder. Give it a watch and a like, and enjoy that match. And let me know what you think. I got Paul Oyama coming up next week. Yeah. Oh man, next week. So at least the delay will give me a little, not being able to see these movies or screenings. It's extra time I can be studying to take on Paul. So don't forget about that. So after you're done with me, please go watch Irwin and Snyder over there on SCN and enjoy that. Jake Iacovetta, thank you so much for monitoring this chat, my man. That's got the Streamlabs address going in. Don't forget about the Patreon. I'll definitely be doing so much more with the Patreon. John Mariano and I are really having great conversations about what we're going to do with that. And I think a taste of that was the Outlaw Nation show. And so coming up on Tuesday, the way it's going to work is if you join my Patreon or get onto the Patreon, there's a Discord address that you can be part of. Go into the Discord group for the Outlaw Nation show, just specifically for the Outlaw Nation show. You'll be put in the waiting room room, and then I bring you up into into the chat situation, and we talk. There's the logo for the Outlaw Nation show, hosted by me. Thank you so much to Brian Ward for that incredible logo. But yeah, on Tuesday night, that's the way it'll go. So I will bring people up into the StreamYard, and we'll be side by side on the camera, and I will hear your thoughts. Now, and I answer your questions. And now, you don't have to have your face on camera. If you don't want to have your face on camera, but you want to ask a question and have your voice on camera, feel free to put up a black frame or whatever, and I'll happily answer your question, no problem. So I'm really looking forward to what that show is going to be. I really enjoyed hosting it the other night. I think that's my show. And who knows, I may do it more than one night a week now with all these delays and situations going down. So someone was asking me earlier about a Thursday show. I was going to do a Thursday show for patrons. So maybe I'll do a Thursday show for patrons, like the first hour and a half for patrons. And then the next hour and a half is a different link for people to jump into who are not patrons of the Outlaw Nation. And then we're all in the group together having conversations and hearing your questions. So that's it. It all depends on if my girlfriend's okay with it. So, the time is always the issue with her. All right. Let's see. One last super chat before I jump back into the news here from I_am_snark. Donated, said, keep up the great work, Outlaw. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Working hard, trying to create this content, trying to earn your love, trying to earn your support. So thank you. Excuse me. So I got over 225 of you guys in here. Would love it if you can swing over and give me a like so I can get over 200 likes before we wrap this thing up here in about half an hour, a little over half an hour. I got 161 likes right now. I would love to get up to 200 likes. They would mean a lot for me. All right, let's move on to our third part of the show here, and that's Wrestlemania. That's right. There has not been an official word yet on the cancellation of Wrestlemania. However, WWE did issue a statement. By the way, this is happening in Tampa in a few weeks, on April 4th. It's not that far away. They issued a statement about it. Here's the statement. While we remain committed to hosting WrestleMania at Raymond James Stadium on Sunday, April 5th, we are putting contingency plans in place in the event that it is canceled by government officials, civil authorities, and or local venues. The health and safety of our fans, performers, and employees are our top priorities, and we are monitoring the situation closely with our partners and government officials in Tampa Bay. All right, well, there you go. That's the statement from the WWE about the WrestleMania. They also issued a statement about SmackDown tonight. They tweeted about it. They said, Friday Night SmackDown proceeds with no live audience. Friday Night SmackDown on March 13th, that's today, will air live as regularly scheduled and emanate from WWE's training facility in Orlando, Florida, with only essential personnel in attendance. The event was originally scheduled in Detroit, Michigan. So a lot of people have been wondering what the WWE was going to do. Well, that's what they're going to do right now. And look, let's go back to that statement. I want to bring it back up again. It's very curious. The wording is important. A large company, the wording is important. When they say we are putting contingency plans in place in the event that it is canceled by government officials, civil authorities, and or local venues. So what and then they try to say that the health and safety of our fans, performers, and employees are our top priorities. I mean, you can have your issues with that statement, and look at the history of how they've treated some of their wrestlers. Look at the history of how Vince McMahon does not want to have unions in his company, and then come back to me and tell me about how they really care about the health and health of their performers and their employees, and with the travel schedule that they put them through. You can have arguments about that, and certainly I'm not big enough to raise a stink about it, but certainly I believe that they're not 100% believing of that. But when they say that it is canceled by government officials, civil authorities, so they're saying themselves, we're not going to cancel it. They are going to cancel it. So, I mean, I guess this is Vince's thing of trying to prove that he's a tough guy, or trying to prove that the WWE is tough, or it's the dangerous belief that they've had and operated as a company that, whatever it is, the show must go on. Owen Hart falls 78 feet to his death. Screw it. We're going to still keep going with that over the edge pay-per-view. Other people pass away. People get injured. Screw it. You got to wrestle. There's so many stories of the way some of these wrestlers in these events have gone on and have ignored the health of these performers or ignored the situation. So I'm not surprised Vince would do this. Plus, Vince is pretty tight with Trump. His wife served on I think she was the head of the Small Business Administration or whatever in Trump's administration. So no surprise here. They probably see it like Trump is trying to convey that the coronavirus is not that big of a deal. And that's why they've been slow with the rollout, slow with those things. There's rumors that came out, stories that come out, numerous publications that, they tried to stop people from being tested, allegedly, because they didn't want the numbers to go high, because they didn't, with the re-election happening, they didn't want it to affect the look of Trump. All these kinds of, all this PR bullshit that I hope isn't true. I hope isn't true, because that is literally criminal malpractice by the President of the United States. So I hope that isn't true, but I'm not surprised that Vince, who likes to always be the tough guy, go watch that old episode of him being interviewed by Bob Costas. He always likes to try to intimidate and push around people. He doesn't believe in sick. There's many people who've issued accounts of his reactions to people claiming to be sick, that he doesn't buy it. And it conveys the overall thought process that happens sometimes in this country, that people, when they call in sick, are afraid to call in sick. Then they get everybody else sick. Lord knows I've worked at a place recently where a person refused to stay home, even though we told them to stay home. That person came in, was on multiple mics, got everybody sick in the office because that person just thought they were being some kind of tough warrior by not staying home, and they were afraid to miss an assignment or afraid to miss a junket or an interview, and they got everybody sick. So those are those kinds of things that we push that mentality on people, that if you miss a day, you're somehow going to lose value in the company's eyes, or not, or someone's going to take your slot. That kind of bullshit needs to stop. I hope this coronavirus thing exposed that ridiculous notion, a ridiculous assessment from people. Yes, are there people who fake being sick? Sure. No one's going to say there isn't. But most people want to work because they want to make their money. And if they don't have sick days to take, most people don't like to take days and miss work because they have to pay bills and get money for food and what have you. So most people don't try to fake being sick because they want to make that money. So this idea that this is how, that we have to push people and make them feel guilty and make them feel like they have to go to work is something that's crazy. And speaking of the health of the wrestlers, this is from Ryback on his YouTube show that he has. This is a quote here, and this comes from Cinema Blend. From a wrestler's standpoint, WrestleMania is in Tampa, and they're going to bring people from all over the world to this location. If I'm a wrestler, and I'm speaking from the talent as I've talked to a couple of people, the talent believe that WrestleMania is possibly going to get canceled. This is a business, and it will impact a lot of things but you have to protect the wrestlers at all costs. I agree with that. I don't know, obviously this is not like an official statement that Ryback knows that it's going to be canceled, but he's saying that he's spoken to some people and they have said that the possibility of it being canceled is in play. So that's the thing down the road that we shall see overall for the WWE. But it's a big deal. XFL got canceled. If the XFL can be canceled, why can't WrestleMania be canceled? I don't know. But I looked at the numbers, and I hope I got this right. If it could be a $95 million loss or a little bit more than that if WrestleMania is canceled, which is kind of a big deal. Or maybe it's $950 million loss. It's a big loss. I know that. It's a massive loss for the company. And they issued another statement to their investors. Let's take a look at that right now. This is the potential impact of the coronavirus on them. They said, the WWE today communicated perspective regarding the potential impact of COVID-19 on the company's financial performance. WWE has substantial financial resources, both available cash and debt capacity, which currently total more than $0.5 billion to manage the challenges ahead. The fundamentals of the company's business remain strong, reflecting the passion of WWE's fans and the quality of its content. Even though the subscriptions are down and some of the attendance is down, management continues to believe the company is well positioned to take full advantage of the changing media landscape and increasing the value of live sports rights over the long term. The health and safety of WWE's fans, performers, and employees are the company's top priorities, and management is monitoring the situation closely domestically and internationally. The potential impact of COVID-19 and corresponding changes in the way WWE operates may adversely impact the company's business, including but not limited to its live event ticket sales and the sale of merchandise at those events. It should be noted that the company may be directed to cancel, postpone, or relocate certain upcoming events, and the number of these changes is unknown at this time. The company is currently unable to quantify the potential financial impact of COVID-19, but the financial impact of the company may be material. Accordingly, the company is withdrawing its previously announced first quarter and full year 2020 guidance due to the increased uncertainty of the financial impact of COVID-19 to the company. Of course, COVID-19, another word for coronavirus, the actual scientific name for coronavirus. I'm taking another drink, sorry. So all of that is in play here. And, it's a fair assessment for them to be worried about their financial impact. of the coronavirus. And this is, of course, that was a statement they sent out to their investors. But they are, once again, they adhere to the point that they are not going to cancel these events. The unforeseen canceling by other entities, meaning the people who are holding these events, the stadiums holding these events and what have you, all of that is going to be affected in this situation. So that's something that should be of concern overall for WWE and its fans. So we'll see. I mean, I'm of two minds. If they're going to do WrestleMania, I think everybody has to sign some kind of waiver saying as soon as I walk in the stadium, I surrender all legal right to sue. The problem is that if anybody gets infected, and that's thousands and thousands and thousands of people in that stadium, if any of them get infected, or majority of them get infected, or even some of them get infected, they're carrying that back to their homelands or their home states or home cities and could infect other people. Or if people show up and are infected, they could infect other people. So it could be a really dangerous situation. So I get why Vince wants to convey strength and doesn't want to cancel WrestleMania, but I think it's a dangerous step to be taking already. I mean, Jeff Snyder today posted in the Schmodown Facebook group that he is pulling out of the free-for-all that's happening next week of concerns for his health. Jeff was in the hospital a couple of weeks ago, and so he's just concerned about it. So if this is just, then that's just a movie trivia competition. It's not even WrestleMania with thousands and thousands of people. So to me, that strikes me as odd that wrestlers wouldn't start pulling out. But this is why he doesn't want them to have a union. If they have a union, they can absolutely protest the idea of having to play these situations or be in these situations and affect the bottom line of the company. And Vince wants to be able to do what he wants to do with the people, and they should be grateful they're even in the WWE. So maybe someday that'll change, but for right now, they kind of have to go with his whim and his feelings about the situation. Saudi Arabia notwithstanding, that's a separate situation. This is a WrestleMania. So, speaking of cancellations, we should give you the update on what's going on in the sports world as well for those of you who are interested in the sports world. One of the biggest sporting events of the year, as Haskell just pointed out earlier, the Masters was postponed. It was announced Friday. The Boston Marathon has been pushed back to September. The NBA, the NHL, the MLS, and Major League Baseball all suspended play. The NCAA canceled all its championships, all of it, including the men's basketball tournament, which supplies most of its annual budget. So talk about one event causing a serious dent in your bottom line. If you look at WrestleMania to the WWE, certainly the NCAA tournament, the men's basketball tournament, is a massive loss. Of course, the women's basketball tournament was canceled as well. So let's move step by step. Take a step by step. As I said, in golf, the Masters will be postponed. Thursday night, the PGA Tour, which conducts the bulk of the professional golf events in North America, announced it was canceling several tournaments and suspending operations until the week of the Masters, which is scheduled for April 9th through the 12th. They initially announced that the Players' Championship in Florida, one of its most prestigious events, would proceed without fans. The PGA Tour turned around and decided on late Thursday to cancel it, as well as its next three events in Florida and Texas. An event in the Dominican Republic was canceled earlier in the day, and the LPGA, the Ladies Professional Golf Association, had previously announced the postponement of three events in the U.S. as well. Now in soccer, this finally happened. The Soccer Premier League, this morning in England became the latest soccer league to suspend games after Mikel Arteta, the Arsenal manager, and Chelsea player Callum Hudson-Odoi tested positive for the coronavirus. That's right, a manager and a manager for Arsenal and the Chelsea player. So the games will not be played in the top four divisions until April 3rd. So they're not canceling the season, or voiding the season. They're just delaying it until April 3rd to see what happens. Scotland has also suspended its games. Arsenal, Chelsea, and Everton have all quarantined some of their players. England and Scotland join almost every other major league in Europe, including France, Italy, Netherlands, Spain, and a host of smaller countries. Germany was an exception for now, with most of the weekend games currently on. Of course, Germany always. We will not give in to this. We are tougher than this. Of course. So I respect that they're willing to do this, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's an announcement coming down the pike soon from them as well. All the Champions League and Europa League games have been suspended indefinitely as well, and most Asian countries suspended play some weeks ago because it was hit there first. When Major League Soccer is also suspended, and that leaves games for the most part only in Africa, South America, Australia, and Mexico for now. And the United States men's and women's team friendlies in March and April have also been canceled. Now you look at auto racing. Formula One this morning canceled its season opening race in Australia. Races in China, Bahrain, and Vietnam were postponed. NASCAR and IndyCar plan to hold their races, but without spectators. Indy will race Sunday in St. Petersburg, Florida, with no fans. NASCAR will do the same in Atlanta and Miami the next 2 weeks. Now, basketball and the college basketball tournaments. First of all, started the first game of the Big East tournament quarterfinals, tipped off as scheduled Madison Square Garden, but the tournament was canceled at halftime. That's right, at halftime, they canceled the tournament. So while the players were in the locker room of the first game of the Big East tournament, of the quarterfinals, they canceled the tournament. Then they canceled all the tournaments and all the NCAA tournaments, not just basketball, but all the sports there have been canceled or postponed for now. And at the NBA shut down for a little while. Adam Silver said it's going to be for 30 days. Then they're going to reassess in 30 days what the situation is. Donovan Mitchell became the second NBA player to have tested positive after his teammate Rudy Gobert tested positive as well. And so we'll see what happens with that. Silver said it'll last about 30 days. The Europa League, the European Basketball League, they suspended all games until April 11th. In hockey, the NHL announced Thursday that it was pausing its season effective immediately. It did not dictate how long the stoppage was going to be because the NHL teams have about a dozen games left in the regular season, with the Stanley Cup playoffs scheduled to begin in about a month. The National Women's Hockey League said its Isabel Cup final between the Boston Pride and the Minnesota Whitecaps, set for Friday, had been postponed. In terms of tennis, the Miami Open, one of the top tournaments in the country, was canceled, and its cancellation comes after the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells, California, was also canceled, and then they suspended tour events for 6 weeks. The governing body of men's tennis suspended tour events for 6 weeks. The Fed Cup finals that were scheduled for Budapest in April have been postponed. WTA events, the Women's Tennis Association events, will not be held until April 6th. And in football, the NFL canceled its annual owners meeting scheduled for March 29th to April 1st in Palm Beach, Florida. They're going to reconvene in late May. The meeting was supposed to include owners, coaches, and general managers and attract hundreds of news media members from around the country and probably the world. So they said it would continue the NFL said in a statement that it would continue essential business operations, but would consult with experts on new developments. And no mention was made of changes to plans for the NFL draft, which is slated to take place later in April on the 23rd to the 25th in Vegas. The Olympics are an interesting situation. Trump suggested that the games should be delayed a year or postponed for a year. Thomas Bach, the president of the International Olympic Committee, has insisted that the games are on schedule to begin in late July, though a member of Japan's Olympic Organizing Committee said Tuesday that postponing the games should be discussed. They had the Olympic flame lighting ceremony in Greece on Thursday, but with no spectators, and that's probably why it wasn't covered that much. And the torch relay was suspended Friday after larger crowds than expected turned up to watch. Now with Major League Baseball, they postponed the start of its regular season scheduled for March 26th by at least 2 weeks and canceled all remaining spring training games. So baseball will be an interesting thing when it comes back because of the delay of the start and also canceling spring training games. So we might get more injuries to start the season because these players aren't, back into shape by the time the season starts. We shall see. Japan has postponed the start of its baseball season, scheduled for March 20th until April. The Boston Marathon, a spring staple on sports calendar, will instead be held on September 14th. So it got pushed to September 14th. And the New York City Half Marathon that was scheduled for Sunday has been canceled. The Paris Marathon has been delayed from April to October. The Barcelona Marathon has been postponed until October. And the Rome Marathon on March 29th has been canceled. And one more thing about hockey, the Women's World Ice Hockey Championship that was to be played in Canada beginning March 31st has been canceled. The Alpine World Cup finals scheduled to begin March 18th in Italy have been canceled. And the last 3 races of Women's Skiing World Cup to be held in Sweden were canceled. And finally, if you're a cricket fan, and I know there are a lot of British people who watch the show, the Indian Premier League, the richest league in the world, postponed the start of its season until April 15th. England called off its tour of Sri Lanka, which had already begun with exhibition matches, and South Africa and India canceled international games as well. So a lot going on here in the world of sports, a lot of cancellations because people don't want to deal with the liability of having these thousands of spectators at their events and having them contract the virus and pass the virus on to other people. Incredible. I'm taking a quick drink right now. Andrew Hale, was that a cough? Is Rocha all right? I'm fine, everybody. I'm fine. Jake, I just need to take a sip. That's true. That was a lot to get through, y'all. That was a lot to get through. So I apologize if it irritated any of y'all. That was I wanted to give you all the information as much as possible. So got about 230 y'all in here. Please get me over 200 likes. I'm at 195 likes right now. Would really appreciate it. And let me jump into some super chats and some Streamlabs before we wrap up here in the next 15 minutes. Long story short, better safe than sorry, says Tim Sim. Agreed, my man. Agreed. Did I miss any super chats? Will Watson. Yeah, Will the Wheelman Watson says the Wheelman rolls with the Outlaw. Salute to you, sir. Salute to you. Salute to you, Wheelman. Thank you so much, Will, for joining in and sending in your super chat. All right, let's move over to some Streamlabs. Where do we leave off at? Oh, Garth McMurray. Yeah, he already said what he said. And I am smart. Okay, Colin Martinez said Arlington, Alexandria, and Falls Church just closed schools for a month. This is insane. I doubt any school in the country will be open 2 weeks from now. I haven't lived through anything like this in my 18 years on this earth. Your 18 years on this earth. You be quiet, you little whippersnapper. I don't disagree with you, though. I've never experienced anything like this. I mean, aside from snow, I've not seen this kind of reaction from people about closing everything and anything. So, but I get it. Oh, great. I'm over 200 likes. Thank you so much, guys. At 209 likes. I appreciate it. Got over 230 you in here. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. Really appreciate you all giving me the 200 likes. Hype. Thanks so much. And thanks so much for the donations and the Streamlabs and the Super Chats. Really appreciate that. I'll be doing more content for you all coming down the pike next week. And tomorrow, I'm actually trying to negotiate with Jay Washington and Winston Marshall. We are trying to find a time tomorrow, and we're going to do a live episode, the first episode of Game Time, the first episode of the sports show that I've got going on. Finally, it's time. We think this is something to be discussed. Everything that's happening here with the NBA, with the NCAA, with NHL, with all these things being canceled. We're going to talk about all of it, what it might mean for the seasons going forward, Major League Baseball, what have you. So we are trying to find the right time to do that. We'll do it as kind of like a StreamYard show, and we'll do it live. And maybe we'll go an hour or an hour and a half, depending on our schedules and our time. And you all can send in your chats, super chats, or Streamlabs, and I'll try to bring them up on the show so you guys can be seen to get a little interactive love in that way. So we shall see. MK Songbird saying Los Angeles Unified School District and San Diego Unified School District are closing. Altogether, the closures impact more than 750,000 students. That's a lot of people. Yeah, we shall see. We'll see as it goes forward. But I think I feel weird. It feels weird. I want to say this. It feels like people are taking these steps, and then I think people aren't panicking strongly. I don't sense the panic as strongly here where I'm at as maybe some of you might be feeling other places. I feel it's going to recede a little bit. I feel like people feel comfortable that people in charge are taking the right steps to postpone or reschedule or cancel certain things. And then once the wave is done, everyone will it'll recede back, and we'll put all those things back in motion, and things will go back to the way they were. So I'm a fan of that kind of stuff. So there you go. All right. Well, I got about 13 minutes left in here, so I just want to give you all a little bit of love. Thanks so much for joining me here for the Outlaw Nation this morning. Don't forget what I said to go over to SEN Live and watch that Irwin versus Snyder match. Ethan Irwin is a beast. Jeff Snyder is always a wily underdog when you're playing him, and I think he's an underdog in this match, if I'm correct. So what Jeff Snyder will we get? Will we get the Jeff Snyder, the king of the Patriots, or we get the Jeff Snyder, the one who kind of showed his belly against Bibiani? Anything is possible with those two going at it. And Ethan, of course, is just a wrecking ball of movie trivia. He's just kind of like a consistent punch in the face till he gets through you. And sometimes he does lose, though. I mean, he's lost to Bibiani, he lost to Dan with the belt, so he can take some losses, and certainly was one word away from losing to Clark Wolf. So those kinds of things are always in play with Ethan, but he's a very, very tough customer and a tough guy to play. Manny Gonzalez saying, the President Trump has finally declared a national emergency according to NBC News. Yeah, okay, cool. It's a few days too late, but all right, fine. That's okay. He declared it, so now we can adjust accordingly and what have you, and move forward with our lives. And that's what I want to say to you all. I know it seems crazy out there. It seems nutty, and everyone's kind of like, worried about things. But, this is the time when your anxiety can get too high, or your depression could slide in, or mental health stuff could really kind of start to consume you. And I want to encourage you all now more than ever during this time, over the next few days, next few weeks, take care of yourself. Take those moments. This too shall pass. find a way to write that somewhere that you see every day. This too shall pass. I mean, that's it. That's the story of life. You can move past stuff. Things come like this and they feel almost insurmountable or crazy or too much. And then slowly but surely it passes. So that's the positive in that way. So I'm trying to tell you all that that's an important thing to take a look at and navigate now for yourself. This too shall pass. Find your way through it. Be patient with yourself. Do the meditation. Take your walks. If you can't take your walks, certainly do something in the house that brings you happiness, brings you joy, takes your mind off of it, kind of brings you back at peace. And the most important thing, and this is not bullshit, this is real. Breathing is so important. I don't mean I mean breathing going to the top. You'll be surprised how if you just find a way to do that slowly, linger at the top just a little bit, and then really exhale it all out before you take another breath, how your heart rate starts to calm down, how your anxiety starts to slowly dissipate, and how you find. And if you're medicating, medicate correctly and do what you need to do in that situation. But take care of yourself. Be careful with yourself. Be cool with yourself. Make sure you're doing all the right things that you need to do to get yourself in the right position and the right frame of mind. There's so much going on. Also, there's so much great content on the Schmodown. Now's the time to go and go catch up on all those matches you haven't seen before. Take your time. If you've been sent home, take your time and catch up on the Schmodown. Get excited about the Schmodown. Have a lot of fun with that. It's really important to do that and enjoy a little bit of something that distracts you. Go watch some of my old matches and enjoy my journey. Again, go watch the documentary if you're a $10 patron. Go and watch that. If you haven't watched it, maybe you've been waiting to watch it, go and watch that. It's a lot of fun. It isn't just about me, it's about the Schmodown. So, I'm not doing it from a vain place. I want to make sure that's clear to everybody. And if you want, and I love it, please come join my Patreon. I'm trying to get above 1,000 to 2,000, 3,000 so I can rent a office. Richard Morales has been sending me some possible office options in Burbank for the Outlaw Nation so I can start generating even more content, maybe even start that website once and for all and have a couple of writers or 3 writers come on to write for the site and kind of build that site up for the Outlaw Nation. That would be a lot of fun as well. Maybe some of you all who are burgeoning writers would be willing to come on. Of course, I can't pay you, but if we get sponsorships, if we get any kind of deals and our numbers get high, then certainly we can go out and get some kind of revenue, and then that will be split with all of you. So certainly that's a possibility for the Outlaw Nation. Absent Good sent in a super chat here, said, thank you for the encouragement. I'm trying to stay positive for my kids and wife. Yeah, absolutely, man. Stay that way. You have a responsibility here for your kids and your wife, so stay positive. Do what you need to do. If you need to take a moment, go into that bathroom, pretend you're taking a dump, and instead sit in there and do your breathing and get yourself leveled and come back out, flush that toilet, and you're ready to handle things with your family. Or if you need to go outside for just a few minutes, sit out on the back porch or sit out on the step, do a little bit of breathing, or listen to a song that's going to calm you down so you can come back in and be a better father and husband in the situation. Do that. It's really important and positive for yourself. Please, guys, don't forget to hit that like button before I wrap this thing up here in the next 8 minutes. Aisel says, do you think when you retire, you will pass the V mask on? We shall see. Jake, are you rolling out? Oh, yeah. See you, PC. Thank you, PC, for joining us. Thank you so much, Jake, for moderating here on the channel, on the chat. And thank you so much for the thumbnails that you do every day for the Mornings with the Outlaw. I really appreciate it. James Pasami says, do you think the Outlaw will retire? Yes, I will absolutely retire. The time is certainly coming down the road when I'll be kind of like hanging up the spurs and maybe, taking a little bit of a break. The young kids coming in, the young kids are hungry. They're driven, they're determined, they want to succeed. And I don't want to step on any of that. So to me personally, I want to do my thing as always. And then all right, there we go. All right. Apparently Christian has a pre-recorded opening. Is that right? Christian has a pre-recorded opening for the Irwin versus Snyder match. Oh, all right. Well, anyway, if you guys are seeing me, can anybody see me? Am I back? Am I back yet? Am I back? Oh no, back. Okay, cool. All right, I'm back. Thank you, Jake. I appreciate you telling me that I'm back. All right, let's wrap this thing up here. I guess it's YouTube's way of telling me to get the F off, so I'm gonna get off here, and y'all can go and watch that Irwin versus Snyder match. Apparently, Christian has a pre-recorded opening, maybe talking about the updates for the coronavirus and all of that, what's going on with the Schmodown. We shall see. Oh, no, John, I said he may have a... Well, what did I tell you, man? Don't spread bullshit. If you don't know that he has one, don't say he may, unless you know for sure, Haskell. What else? Okay, so anyway, follow me on social media there at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Thank you all so much for joining me for another Friday edition of Mornings with the Outlaw. It means a lot that you take your time to spend and listen to this idiot talk about his stuff and tell you about his opinions on the new world, on the news of the world, and everything going on in the world of entertainment and everything going on in your world. And I can't encourage you enough. Please, if for the future episodes of Mornings with the Outlaw, send in some of your questions about yourself, about your life, about questions you might have about things that are going on in your world. Maybe you want some advice or some guidance, that kind of stuff. Mornings with the Outlaw is about hanging out with you guys. Yes, we talk entertainment stuff. We'll talk whatever's on my mind, but I also want to hear from you all. If you need help with anything, send those through as a Streamlabs or a Super Chat. I'll be happy to answer them all the time. So there you go. The match says it's in 4 hours now. Oh, I don't know what that means. Okay, well, we'll see. All right, please don't forget the Patreon out there, www.patreon.com/John Rocha. Go and sign up there and see all the multiple tiers that are happening. Certainly, the Outlaw Nation show is a piece of that, but there'll be more of that coming down the pike. I'll be doing some voiceover lessons for people who are interested in doing voiceover. I'll be, having special shows, watch-alongs of matches for my fans, things of that nature. So there'll be a lot more coming down the pike with the Patreon for me. So just trying to generate content and interest from you all to get that above the 1,000, the 2,000, 3,000 mark, so I can do what I need to do with the Outlaw Nation. So any support you guys give me would be so appreciated. Yair Liebert says, you have been the face of the Schmodown for me from the beginning. If you ever retire, it just won't be the same without you. I love you, Rocha. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Yair. There'll be people coming down the pike. Certainly Ben wants to be the face of the Schmodown. That pretty little boy, he certainly wants to be the face of the Schmodown, with his suit and his his pretty little lips, all of that. He wants to be the face of the Schmodown, so I respect that. But I'm secure on where my legacy is in the Schmodown and what I've done, and being part of the situation with Dan means the world to me. So I'm proud of Dan. I'm proud that he's a double belted champion. I'm proud that I helped be a part of that just by being there, managing him in the last match, but also, riding by his side when we won in Orlando. So we shall see. And certainly we've got a very tough match coming up against Corruption one more time. So that's going to be an interesting, match coming down the pike. Or coming down the pipe. We shall see. Either way, thanks, Jake, for that. All right, I better get going, y'all. Thank you all so much for joining me. Much love to every single one of you. Do what you need to. Remember, today's Friday, right? I say it on Monday, take those steps forward. Friday, take some time to appreciate what you did this week. Take some time today to be like, you know what? I did this and this and this. There is nothing wrong with saying positive things to yourself. It isn't vanity. It isn't conceit. It isn't arrogance. It's support. If you have to be your own best friend, and if you have to speak to yourself as you would speak to your best friend. That's so important. So when you sit down on the couch, it's almost like separate yourself out and go, dude, you did a woman, you did a really great job this week. You did this, you did this, you did this. Yeah, you had some mistakes here, a couple of mistakes here, but you know what? Learn from that, and next week's going to be even better. Those are those conversations you need to have with yourself on a Friday or over the weekend. Just take a moment to take stock of what you did this week to advance your life, advance your dreams, get closer. And if you didn't do anything, then take a step to be like, where was the moments that I could have done more? Where are the moments that I could have found a little bit more motivation? What do I need to do to get there? Those are important things to do for yourself on Fridays and on the weekends, and be good to yourself in those conversations. Be positive and uplifting as you would to a friend. Love yourself like you love your friends. It's super important in this world to generate that energy for yourself. And you might be surprised what may come to you because you've generated that energy. Trust me on that. It can shock your world. All right. Thanks, everybody. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the Outlaw Nation, please subscribe to the Outlaw Nation. Oh, I do want to give some love to people who did subscribe while we were doing this. DJ Bruce Wayne subscribed. Bob's Adventures, Vlogs, and More subscribed. Christopher Cornell Martin subscribed. Outbreak Podcast has subscribed. Oh, great. Just in time, I guess. JSox94 subscribed. Robert Murray Jr. subscribed. Isaiah Campbell subscribed. Adrian Martinez subscribed. And Albion subscribed. Jake White subscribed to the Outlaw Nation channel. And let me see if there's anybody else I'm missing here. Yeah, that's everybody who's subscribed. So thank you all for joining me on the Outlaw Nation and for subscribing to the channel. We will see you next week with another episode on Monday morning of Mornings with the Outlaw. And don't forget, tomorrow, and later today probably, look for my announcement of what time we're going to be doing the first episode of Game Time. Jay Washington, Winston Marshall, and myself talking about all things going on in the world of sports. Until then, have yourself an awesome Friday. I love you. Take care of yourself. We'll see you on Monday. And wash those hands. Wash those hands, son. Wash these hands, too. Watch them and wash them.